Welcome back, everybody. It's time for Old Timey Photos with Liz Cross and Ronan at Reality Forecast. Hey, Liz, I found this in the old daguerreotypes, and I don't know if we can take a look at this girl to see what kind of life she led and her soul journey.
She's very serious, isn't she?
She's so tiny. She must have been very young in this picture when it was taken.
How old were you in this picture? She was about 10.
What can she tell us about her lifetime when this was taken?
What can you tell us about your lifetime? She was extremely sad. There was a lot of sadness behind those eyes. She always had a very sad life.
Tell us more about why she was sad, about that type of life that she led, and what brought her to this event.
So sad. Why? She didn't feel loved. There's a lot of things going on between her and her father. I feel like the father was a child molester, and mother wouldn't listen. They hid behind religion. Lots of bad things going on here. She had a very sad existence, and she also would never speak out.
Did she have a lot of brothers and sisters in that lifetime?
Brothers, yes.
Why didn't they protect her?
Because they didn't know what was happening.
What did she go on to do in this lifetime, pictured here?
What did she go on to do in this lifetime? She became a teacher. And part of her teaching was to instruct the boys and girls that it's not okay for someone to make them feel uncomfortable.
She finally got her voice later in life.
Yes, through teaching. But even that was all religious based.
In her spiritual pursuits, did she find any solace in religion, or did she feel like it left her without satisfaction?
She did not believe in religion in that lifetime, because why would God allow bad things to happen to good people, especially children? She's very protective of children, as we all should be. And she doesn't understand why in the lifetime, that was always the big question. Why would you do this? Why would you allow this? Why would this happen to me?
In a more grand perspective, in a life review on the other side, did she get that answer?
Yes, but it's sheer torture going through something like that. The shame, the guilt. She was convinced it was her fault. If she wasn't so pretty, if she wasn't so accessible. And it took a lot of detachment to understand that it wasn't her fault. She did nothing wrong. And that's why she went into teaching, to specifically try to protect all those other children. And yes, I mean, eventually, obviously, when she left the earth plane, she lived to be a very old age, actually. And she was always reading and teaching, even as an elderly lady. and always teaching children about their bodies, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And she, when she got into the spirit world, I mean, it all made sense, but there's still a lot of turmoil and a lot of, you know, almost like an argument with source over why me, why this, why anyone. So she's
And I
very
want to
distrustful of source.
and I want to know, in that life review, did she get the answer to her question? Why do bad things happen to good people?
No, no, she didn't, because, we've had this before in another probe, because we do so many probes now. It's hard to not come across repetitive information, and I can only apologize for that. But souls that are coming down to the earth plane, they think they're coming down to ascend on a subjective level, right? Working on their subjective ascension. But the reality is, it's all objective, meaning the ultimate goal is for source to gain all of the knowledge, all of the wisdom, all of the ascension, because we are created from source and we go back to source. We're reabsorbed, eventually reabsorbed back into source, and source has our experiences back connected to source, right? So what we do know is that, and she's agreeing with me, souls, even in the spirit world, don't understand that level of reabsorption. They understand, I want to evolve to angelic status, but I'm going to maintain my individuality. It doesn't work like that. Eventually, after you've completed your cycles as an angel, right? You get reabsorbed back in, and you lose your individuality. But they don't understand that when they're designing their lifetimes. They don't have a clue. They just think they're doing it for the evolution of their soul. And that's not the case.
Is she in spirit now, or is she in incarnation down here now?
No, she's here on the earth plane. She's a
What is
teacher.
her life like?
She's a teacher in this lifetime too.
Is there any way to get out of the soul group that you're in?
Yes, you can plan that. When you go up to the spirit world and you're redesigning your new life, you can say, you guys don't serve me so well anymore, so I need to regroup with or I need to find another soul family. And people drift in and out of soul families all the time. That's nothing new at all. And oftentimes when people are, I'm in this group and a lot of people find out, just I like genetics and stuff like that. And it's so funny because when people sometimes post in this genetic group, they'll say, oh my God, I took the test and so who I thought was my dad wasn't my dad. And they freak out. But when I've done readings, the bigger picture is always, well, for whatever reason, their DNA was necessary in this lifetime for you as an individual. And that's what was required. But they still end up with their soul family. So maybe the stepdad was the soul family as opposed to the biological father. But yes, I mean, there's all this movement in and out of soul families, but sometimes it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't. You know what I mean? Because you can evolve into a new soul family And that soul family may be worse than the one that you just came from, you know?
You're the best one there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another question for her as a teacher. What does she wish that she could tell the world? Let's give her that pulpit. And what does she wish she could share so that everybody knows listening?
So in this lifetime, she's so tired of these kids, right? It's completely the opposite to that lifetime she had. In this lifetime, she's tired of these kids. You can't teach them anything. You can't have influence over them. They're not engaged. They're not listening. Sounds like she's in charge of a bunch of middle schoolers. That's a very difficult age. You can't make an impression on them. They're very sort of obstructive to what she's trying to do. And in this lifetime, she's trying to open them up more spiritually. So they're not paying attention. It's almost like it's an impossible job. You can't tell
Church
them.
and state, right? But we're giving her the opportunity to share thoughts with the world on YouTube. So, what does she wish to impress upon everybody? Not her kids, but the world.
What would you like to tell the world in this lifetime? Keep it simple. Don't make life so complicated. The more complicated life becomes, the more difficult it is to process the trauma that you've experienced and grow as an individual. You want to keep it simple.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Liz. And thank you, young school teacher girl.
I know, these things, you never know what we're going to get when we put the picture on the screen, but we always learn a lot. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.